Okay, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to do a longer video on this to really go over the custom fitment of a kart barrel. So this is still rough. This is a kart 10 millimeter barrel upgrade to the stock barrel that came with this SR 1911 10 millimeter. So this is the stock barrel I have in the slide, and I just want to go over a couple things here. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit better. This is the stock barrel with the stock link, and and you can see it's the 10 millimeter barrel. And so this is the barrel that came with the gun. And I just want to show you some of the play in the barrel and the slide, so you can see that there's quite a bit of play with the factory barrel, not only laterally but also forward and back. You could probably hear it, but there's definitely some play there. Okay, and that's the stock barrel that came with the gun right out of the factory. And so I'll go over in more detail how I fit the barrel. So this is a kart custom barrel, real good high quality barrel for shooting wad cutters. It's still in the rough. I need to finish the metal and get that all cleaned up, but that was from the sizing, getting it to fit. So when I first got the barrel, this width, the end of the barrel width was, I'm going to zoom out here so you guys can see this a little bit better. It was really, really tight. It wouldn't even go in past a 1/2 inch. So I knew I needed to take a little bit down, and it was just with some, let's see, what's the sandpaper? It's not a real heavy duty. I think it's like 4-600. What is this here? It's the 3M. I think it's 4-600. It doesn't say on that piece there, but was able to get this where, so I knew that the barrel would clear the slide at the end there. And you could see it's still pretty tight, and I haven't finished polishing it. So it's real snug on the end there. It's so snug that you'd have to force it in. With the stock barrel, you can see that it clearly, there's even some play there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's some play. Whereas the new barrel, the custom barrel, it's real snug in there. It fits in there, but it's really snug. Okay, so there's not going to be any, and not a lot of play on the end inside the slide. So that's been fit real well. So it's snug in there. Okay, but it clears, as you'll see when the custom barrel is put in. I'm going to move the stock barrel out of the way here. When you slide this barrel in, and it's in the locking lugs, and I'm going to zoom in here so you can see this a little bit. Oh no, wrong way. I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. But once it's in there, now you saw the other barrel, like here, I'm going to move this one. Okay, so that's all the way in there now, tight, and not a lot of movement, very nowhere near the movement on the stock barrel. And then when you try to move it forward and back, very little, if any, movement on that that barrel in there. A little bit of lateral, but very little, nowhere near what you saw on the stock barrel. Okay, and the areas that I had to focus on to get it to fit, obviously the first area you got to focus on to get this to size is your width. And your width comes basically here up on the hood right here. So you've got to make sure that both sides, so right here with the hand file, you could see, and I still need to clean this up, that was brought down, and then it was brought down on this side here. So that's how you get the width where it's able to clear both sides of the slide. You've got the slide with the ejector right here. So you've got this shelf right here coming, and then you've got this shelf on this side. So the hood, and it's hard to see on this barrel because it has the feed ramp, but you need to have enough clearance where it will width-wise get in position and centered on the breech of the gun. So That's the width. And then on length, when you're sizing it for length, the two areas that I focused on to get this to size is obviously the hood of the barrel, which is this section right here. So this had to be taken down, and I did it with a hand file. So this was brought down so that so basically that area there, and then also the sides of the barrel here, this had to be taken down, and then the side with the ejector notch also. And I'll show you here why that's important, because as it's going into the breech of the gun, and I'm going to have this, right here where you can see. So the hood at the top, at the bottom there, I'm going to bring the pointer around on the back side. The hood right here, you'll know because you'll see a small, if any, gap there. And then you've got this area right here that needs to be flush. And the way that you know, and then also in this ledge right here, and it's just cut with a hand file. And the way that you know, so let me go ahead and zoom it back out. The way that you know is when it drops into the locking lug. So when I advance the barrel, boom, there, it dropped in. So that's how you know. You know that you've got the shoulders on the left and the right side, and the hood, you don't want to take the hood down too far, but you just want to get it where boom, it drops in. And so that's how you know that the barrels fit both the width and length. And then you can see here where once it's in there, there's not a lot of movement. Okay, that's not moving, hardly any in there. It's in there nice and snug. And then if you look at the end of the barrel here, where it was a little bit of material was taken off, you can see that it's nice and snug on the end of the barrel there too. There's not a lot of leeway here. There's not a lot of play in the barrel there. Okay, so that's been taken off, and you can see that it's real snug right there on both sides, real snug on the slide. Okay, so I had to hit that with a little bit of sandpaper to get it to fit. Now the other area that's really important that you got to focus on when sizing the barrel, once you get the width, we talked about the width. So the width of the hood, and I'll flip it around so you can see here, the width of the hood, it's got to be able to fit within both sides, and then the shoulder. You can see the end of the rail right there, and you can see the end of the rail right here too. So that's where the barrel sits up against right there. So once you get the width, I always do the width first on the hood, then I'll do the length too, because typically the shoulders need to be brought down on the barrel. And once again, when it's done right, you'll see it'll drop down into the lugs. Let me advance the barrel forward here. It's tight. It's so tight that sometimes it's hard to get it to drop down. So we'll just push it forward there, and then you can see it drop down in, and there's very little, if any, play. That thing is in there tight. Okay, it's nice and snug. Now the next area that I want to point out that's really important. So once you get the barrel where it's dropping down into the lugs without any problem, you can probably see it here even better. See, it's at the wrong angle, goes in, and then boom, it drops down. So there's a better depiction of it. It's dropping down, and you can actually see it right here. If I slide the barrel forward, boom, there it is. So it's in the lugs. And the way you know is there's no movement forward or back on that barrel. I mean, there's zero movement on that barrel. It's in there nice and tight. Okay, so that let's just show the stock barrel again. We'll pop the stock barrel in. Let me zoom out so you can see it a little bit better here. When we put the stock barrel in, and it drops into the lugs, boom, there. I mean, I'm hardly even pushing on it, and you can see the movement. And then there's also movement forward and back. Okay, so a lot more play there. Now, the next area that I want to point out, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more here, is on the link, the sizing link, and the shoulder of the link. what you'll notice on the position of the sizing link to the barrel is essentially that there's no, that when the link is vertical, like it is here, it's vertical, it's at 90 degrees to the barrel. When it's vertical, this shoulder, you have to have clearance here to get the pin through. The pin, the slide release has to get through there, and there needs to be clearance. It has to be flush and or below the bottom of that link. And the reason for that, and I'll put it in the slide and show you, let me just slide out here. The reason for that is the barrel has to be able to reciprocate. And you'll see it if we put the barrel back in with just the slide release. Bear with me as I get this lined up here. It's easier sometimes to just lay it down, pop it in. Well, I guess we can do it without the slide. That you have the ability to reciprocate, okay? That's really important, that the barrel has that ability to reciprocate as the slide cycles back and forth. And the way that happens is obviously you can get different. Okay, so we'll go ahead and continue here talking about the link. And I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit more here so you can see this. But one of the key aspects on this is that the link needs to be able to. We talked about the reciprocation of the barrel, and just at 90 degrees, there needs to be clearance there. Now, I do want to talk about the shoulder here, because the slide release will go through the hole here. And it's got to be able, we talked about the reciprocation. So this shoulder, and I'll show you on the new barrel and the link, that I had to take this down because the slide, basically the slide, and I'm gonna zoom back out, but the slide was not moving forward. It was in a position where it was hanging up, and it was not going fully forward into battery. And so that's a good indicator that you have an issue with the link here, okay, that we were talking about earlier. So you have an issue with the link right there. And I'll show it to you when I put the new barrel in, and we'll kind of update you. But so that was kind of what the issue was. So what I'll do is let me get the barrel out, and then I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so this will be a good depiction of what I'm talking about. I showed you with the stock barrel how the barrel on the frame was reciprocating, but this is a good and even actually better way of depicting it. So when the slide release is in through the link, as you can see here, and then the barrel is sitting down into the frame, there's some, and this here's got hung up, but we talked about the reciprocation as the barrel's moving through both the slide and the frame. And this will kind of be a really good depiction as to what I'm talking about. So there needs to be the ability to come to 90 degrees right there. Okay, I pointed it out earlier. So this is reciprocating like this, because remember at the top, and I'll show you when you're pulling the slide back, the barrel is coming down out of the locking lugs, and so the link is essentially helping to facilitate that with this action here. And so the ability for the gun to cycle and function correctly, you have to have this ability here. So with this new barrel, I talked about how that the slide with the barrel inserted was not moving forward, and it was hanging up, so it was not going into full battery. And so the cause of that is right here, this shoulder. So the shoulder right here, and hopefully it's clear where you can see it, but this had to be taken down. Gradually I did it, very gradually, initially with the Dremel, I took it down, and then I also polished it afterwards. So that allowed for this reciprocation that we're talking about here. When the slide release is in, it needs to be able to smoothly and efficiently go from when it's in the forward position there, when it's okay, from there to there at 90 degrees, it needs to be able to do that. And so with a custom tight fit or hand fitted barrel, you're gonna need to ensure that that shoulder here needs to be allow that the slide release pin is not hanging up on that shoulder, okay? So the shoulder here had to be taken down, okay? Taken down and then polished to allow the 90 degree that we were talking about earlier, and clearance. So you want it to be flush on the inside, and I don't know if I can, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit further and really kind of show you what I'm talking about. That's the wrong way. Okay, it needs to be right there. You can really see it where it's flush with the shoulder right here. So the shoulders have been brought down, so it's completely right there. It's flush. So when that pin goes through, you're looking at a perfect 90 degrees and then the ability to reciprocate. So that's what I was talking about. So the symptom of the problem that you would see is what I talked about earlier, where the slide is not going all the way into battery, okay? So the slide is gonna look essentially, and I'm gonna get back zoomed out here. The slide is gonna be at a position where it's like that. It's not flush in the back like you need. I'm gonna zoom out, oh, wrong way. Where it's not flush, okay? So you could see here, it would look like that. Well, initially when I put it in, it was like here. It was all the way here. There was a huge gap between the slide getting, there was a huge gap there because I really had to take that shoulder down, right? So I had to really get this shoulder down because this thing was sticking out like here, and it wasn't allowing it to go to 90. And I didn't have the clearance that it needed. So that's the symptom. And then we just talked about the solution. So the symptom is the slide not going to full battery. And then so you got to address this issue here with the link getting to 90, the slide release having the clearance. And then you want to be able to have that smooth reciprocation there. And it all comes down to that shoulder right there. Now, there's also kits, there's different size. I believe Wilson Combat makes a 1 through 5 link system. And so you can put in various links to get it where it's sitting down tight in the slide. So that's kind of more the tightness of the barrel. And obviously to make it easy, I would go to Brownell's, get yourself a good pistol block that has the holes for the pins. Get some good drifts, some good steel drifts, because taking out these barrel links requires some good force, and then a good hammer. These are nice because they're adjustable, and you can wrong way again. Sorry. You can replace the heads on them. So this comes off, this head comes out, and typically I'm using the brass head more than the plastic, but when the slide gets stuck or I'm dealing with some issues, the soft plastic or polyurethane head is good. But these are replaceable. If they wear out, just take them off. And I got this at Brownell's, so another good piece of gear. And then obviously a good punch set, a drift set, and they're all marked. So, but this one actually, I think I just got like at a hardware store. It's not. I have some drifts that I bought from Brownell's that are specific for gunsmithing, but this one just worked perfect for getting that pin out. And they can be challenging to get in and out, but so a good, and then having the block to really secure the barrel on. So that'd be my recommendation there. So I'm going to go ahead and stop, and then I'm going to put the gun all back together and kind of show you where we're at with the new custom barrel. Okay, so here it is all put back together. So the original stock barrel with the original link that the gun came with. And then here is the new barrel. I've still got some cleaning up on the barrel polishing I need to do to get it to look really good. We talked earlier about the clearance on the end, and you can see here that it's pretty tight there all the way around. I did have to take some material off, and then I added a bevel on the outer edge here just to kind of smooth things out, and I still need to clean that up. So, but basically the barrel is in, it's tight, it's a kart custom, and I'll go ahead and I'm gonna pull the slide back so you can kind of see the functioning. But basically, you know, it's coming out of the locking lugs right there. You can see it coming out of the locking lugs. And then I'm gonna go ahead and lock the slide back. And there's still some, I got down in the breech there, I got the feed ramps polished pretty smooth. I did the hood on the barrel as well. So, but it's all good to go now. The barrel, the new barrel's in there, and it's nice and snug, and the functioning of the gun is great now. So last thing is just getting this cleaned up. I might even try to jewel that. I haven't decided, but I'm gonna get this part of the barrel cleaned up. And then I did have to, as I said earlier, take off some material here because the barrel was really tight up here at the forward end of the slide. There, it was so tight that when I tried to put the barrel in reverse, it was hanging up about that far in. So I did have to take some material off here with some 400 and 600 grain sandpaper, just slowly by hand to get that where it was a nice snug fit. And you can see that here where it's nice and snug there in the frame. There's basically like no gap. I mean, there's no movement at all on that barrel. It's in there nice and snug. So that was one of the first things I had to do because I had to make sure I didn't want the barrel to get stuck down in the slide. So she's all done, and well, not 100% done. I'm going to do the final touches here, getting the breech area cleaned up. But real happy with how the barrel came, how this, you know, it's going to really increase the accuracy. We talked about how much more tighter it is in the slide. So it's all good. So thank you for watching this. I hope that I was able to help some folks out with the information in this video. If you like it or you feel it was useful to you and helped you, please appreciate a thumbs up. Thanks again.